Eula and Kamri, should come on camera. We're about to get started. Well, welcome, both of you. How are you doing?
Thanks for having us. I'm fine.
Our pleasure. So let me get us started. On this is a delicious Entrepreneurship Matters series because both of you are food entrepreneurs. I'm not going to give away all of the facts, but I want us to set us up right in this conversation. So let me just set us up that this is our Entrepreneurship Matters webinar series, and it's a conversation that we're going to have with an up and coming as well as a seasoned, no pun intended, entrepreneur, and really have a discussion about how successful entrepreneurship is not built in a day. It really takes undiluted passion, multiple failures, a lot of grit, and a long-term commitment to make it happen. We know that COVID-19 has impacted entrepreneurs in a really robust way. It's hit their businesses hard, and they've had to innovate and adjust. And so it is my pleasure to introduce two people that I admire and respect so greatly, and who are doing amazing, have amazing businesses, but more importantly, are amazing people in our community. So let me first introduce Kamri Moses. And Cam is, you have part of my heart, Cam, because you are a rock star in so many respects. You are the creator of KR Smoothies. You started that when you were 14 years old, that business, and it's a mobile smoothie business. Cam is an amazing member of our community. She's a junior at Weston High School. Go Doves. Singer, that's right. You passed, yes, that's right. Don't let me take a year from you, Cam. You're a member of Heart Smiles Maryland, which provides leadership and hope for youth in Baltimore. You're also class president, a member of the National Honor Society, and she's also sits on the Johns Hopkins COVID Anchor Workgroup. And I have to give her full credit. Cam is the brainchild for this series. So this series is actually something she thought of and conceived of and brought to us here at Hopkins as something that young people would love to be engaged in. And with all great ideas, we take great ideas and run with them. And so we appreciate your advice in even conceiving this great idea. And thank you, Cam, for your leadership. We're going to get into your business in just a minute. But before that, I want to also introduce a woman who I've had so much respect for, also have eaten her food more times than I can count. Eula McDowell with the Big Bean Theory. Her story is tremendous, and we're going to get into that in just a moment. Eula is a proud alum of the Goldman Sachs 10KSB program, along with the ICCC program. She's a graduate of Webb, a board member of Umar boxing program, and assist in feeding the homeless. And we're going to get into that a little bit, Eula, because I want to talk about both you and Cam do a lot in our community to support it and serve the homeless through a number of organizations like Empty Bowls and Healthcare for the Homeless and Taste for Chocolate. So we want to get into all of that, but it is my pleasure. I feel like this is my treat for the day to get to interview you both. So welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. So why don't we get right into our conversation, which tell us a little bit about your business. I didn't try to steal your thunder. Why don't we start with Cam? Talk about what, when you were 14, starting high school, could have been doing anything, but you start a business. Can you take us through sort of what your thought process was? How'd you start your business?
Okay, so honestly, if I was looking back and like with my being 14, I don't think I would still be doing smoothies right now. Like I wouldn't think that, because like anything before that, like smoothies wasn't the first thing I did. So like with Halloween candy, I would bag that up and sell it, or chips and candy and crochet purses and sell those, but like nothing that was like really like long term. But like people, like I started to recognize that being 16, well, not 16 at the time, but 14 at the time, and doing smoothies like no other young woman was doing it at the time. Like, and it was different, and it
Yeah.
attracted a lot of people to me, a lot of good resources, and I was actually able to go through the Al Dream Foundation program. It was in Youth Works 2 years ago, and like receive funding for my business. And then I also participated in the airframe and vended at the airframe for that weekend. And I'm just like, if people are really attracted to my stuff now, and it's like it was just starting then, I'm like, what could I do in the future? So I made it something that was long term, and I actually committed to it. And like now it's Chaos Smoothies.
That's I think you made some really important points, Cam, and I want the young people to notice a couple of things. One, you've been and I say this with all affection, hustling for quite a while. You were selling the candy at Halloween, you were selling crochet purses, and then you came upon something different in the marketplace that no one else was doing, and you then built a business around it. And I think that's a really important point as we just think about, and I know a number of entrepreneurs, what are you applying differently? Eula, I know it all started with a bean. So why don't you take us through your journey to get to this point? How did you get started in the business? Tell people about your business. Many, if they don't know, they should know about what you do.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm really happy to hear what Cam did. And mine was something very similar. Well, mine started when I was at my family's house. And my grandmother, which is the matriarch, she always fixed the black eyed peas. And so I remember just being able to dress up and come and eat dinner. And one day I had to open my big mouth and say that I wasn't going to eat those black eyed peas because they looked all dry. And so my grandmother said, you come in here all fancy and just sit yourself down at the table and eat. Why don't you fix them since you have so much to say? And I knew that I could fix those black eyed peas better. I knew that every time my mother would fix beans for me, I would go back and put sugar in it, or I'll put some more butter and chop up some more stuff. So when it was my opportunity to do that, that's what I done. The reason why I stayed with doing the black eyed peas or the beans is because, like she said, nobody else was doing it. And I pride myself on being original, being able to do something that somebody else is not doing. And if I do it, you'll be able to distinguish mine from everyone else's. So that's how the big bean theory started. We started off just selling to our friends and family, and we built an audience. And once we built an audience, I had the confidence to go somewhere else and sell it, which was the farmer's market at first. Because, your friends and family, they'll tell you, yeah, your food is good as long as they're eating for free. It's all said and good. So I took it to the farmer's market, and that's where I really found out that I had something special, because we started off at 7, and by 10, I had sold over $800 worth of bean seed. And so I was like, wow, this is really, really good. And people would ask me questions. They'll say, well, it started off with just the black eyed pea and maybe the Great Northern. And then people would say, well, what other kind of bean do you make? Do you make lima beans, and do you make split pea? And I was like, you know what? Yes, I do. It can't be that hard to do. And from then on, it's just been a hill of beans. Anything that you can think of to do with a bean, that's what I'm going to do. We have desserts, we have burgers, we have loaves, we have cakes, we have teas, and all of it is just being tested. That's what we've been doing.
It is being, I had, yesterday I ate your salmon burger, which was amazing.
And that had garbanzo bean flour in it to hold it as opposed to bread.
I knew something was special about that. And then I've had your bread pudding. I had a lot of your stuff, as you can tell, but I had a lot of your things. I think there are some points that you just brought up. And I think there's this synergy between you and Cam. You both actually started selling your product in a public market, right? Cam, you talked about AFRAM. Eula, you talked about the farmer's market.
Yes.
Selling it in these public forums, which just shows how valuable those are to entrepreneurs like yourself, to getting started in the marketplace. And both of you talked about this also, starting with your friends and family, right? Those being sort of some of your first customers, which is really great. Let me just take this through. So there are folks that are sending in questions and asking this. So I'm going to get to this question earlier than I ordinarily would. What steps did you take? So take us through, like, step by step. What steps did you take to start your business? So Cam, why don't you take us through, you're 14 years old, about to launch this business. What were some of, like, if you were to break it down into 5 steps, what were the first 5 steps you did?
I honestly feel like my process with my business, like story, wasn't like traditional. Like,
Okay.
So I started making smoothies as a hobby to see what I could do. And after like seeing that I liked it, and my picky little brother at the time liked it. He was about to be like 2, I think. And he liked it. I'm like, let's see who else gonna like it. So then I have a friend, my first high school friend actually, she has her own business too. It's called the Butterfly Effect Collection. Desiree. She had tried it like before we took midterms, and she was like, oh, like I like that. You should try to sell it. So then it was like up one day. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wait till next week. Started selling smoothies next week, and then everybody was like on it, and it was just like it started from there. And then like I just kept like trying to vend at events or do ad frame and reach out to different people like on Instagram and things just to support what I do. But it wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna start a smoothie business and then like I'm gonna wait a month or so I can prepare and get everything. Like I just had a blender and I got the fruit and made all my formula and what I was gonna do, and then just did it.
You know, you make a good point, Cam, and I think there's a genius in what you're talking about. I think that links back to what was on the last Entrepreneurship Matters. You both talk about starting with a great product, right? So your business came out of the substantive, like a great product, right? You didn't link into something else. I mean, amazing the way that you started, and your friend being an encouragement, right? That's a huge point. Eula, how'd you get started? Like, if you take us back 5, what did you do to sort of get into this?
Well, like I said, it started at my aunt's house with my grandmother. Once they approved, like I said before, you think, okay, people are just saying this because it's something that you can fix for them and they can get it for free. But people actually paid for it. And I remember selling my first gallon of soup, and it was $10 for 32 ounces for $10. And I remember my boyfriend, my husband now, saying, nobody's gonna pay $10 for a soup. You can go to the store and you can get pork and beans. I said, but these ain't your mama beans. I mean, everything about them was special. I mean, I really did some really good stuff to it. So I started doing research. I got my audience from my family and my friends. Next thing I wanted to do was to compare and see if I really was as good as everybody said that I was. So I went to the store and I got the bush beans, I got the vegetarian beans, and they had glory beans at the time. And I tasted them all, and mine was, if I must say, better. So the next thing to do was to try to see if I could sell them somewhere else as opposed to just selling them to my family. My friends, your religious entities, they would come out and support, but you want to see if you have a bigger audience. And so someone encouraged me to call Glory Beans. And I did call, and I wanted to see if I could get them to do a line of my beans subcontract me, see if that was something I could do. But they never called me back. And so the next thing for me to do was to go to the farmer's market. And once I secured interest in my soups, my business just began to be a hill of beans uphill ever since. So you just had to put those systems in place. But while you're doing it, you don't know that you're doing it. Just like Cam, you're surprised that people love what you're doing. And once you see that people love what you're doing and that there's a need for it, you get your little spirit up and you get excited about doing it and you want to do it even better. And the more energy that the people give you, you run with it and you just complete your goals and you start dreaming a little bit more about who you can be and where this can take you.
Yeah, no, I mean, both of you, I've never seen people more excited talking about smoothies and beans than you and Cam. But that brings me joy. And you can tell that you enjoy what you do. Your product, is a part of you. I think a couple of great points you made, Eula, which I just want to lift up and make sure people are taking down. One, you created that product. Two, you made it distinct. Third, you talked about making comparisons. So you looked at what the quality of what was out in the marketplace, right? And realized your product was better, which meant it could command a different price than what the market was going to bear for I'm gonna get sued. Yeah. Inferior products, not gonna name them, but inferior products that you might compare yourself to. And then you try to scale it, right? Get bigger audience and get bigger interest. Just want to lift those up as points. I know people are taking notes on how did you start that business? Let's move into your greatest accomplishment. And so I can tell you, both of you, and I'm being completely serious about this, both of you inspire me so much. You have accomplished so much. Cam, 16, Lord, I'm glad you're a couple years away from me. Just a couple, because you are coming hard behind. And you are just doing the thing. So let me ask you this. What's been your greatest accomplishment? Because I think people sometimes are surprised by what you fashion as your greatest accomplishment. Cam, what would you say?
I remember I was asked this before. I was thinking like being funded by the partnership with the mayor and the Aldrin Foundation, and participating in the airframe. But like now that I'm actually like kind of really thinking about it, I feel like the number of people that I've touched with my smoothies, like it's not just smoothies, but like able to connect with people and like really have conversations. Like when I do deliveries and stuff, I sit there and have like a little conversation with people and connect with people, and like the things that I do at the age I do inspires other people. So I feel like that's like my biggest accomplishment, like within the past 2 years, is just like inspiring people, helping people, and actually building a bond with them.
Yeah, no, that's you are inspiring, and so you should be extremely proud of that accomplishment. Eula?
Well, again, I used to look at all of the different organizations. I remember when I was working at the farmer's market, and someone from Whole Foods had asked me, did I want to do my soups there? Not my soups, but my hummus there. And I remember thinking, wow, this is a big opportunity. Whole Food wants me. But then I did my research, and I realized that it's not who wants you, is where you want to be placed. And through that,
that's a good one. That'll preach a word. Hold on.
Yeah, because everything is not for everybody, and sometimes
that's a good
little bit more than you can chew just because somebody else wants you. And I had to realize through looking at all of the offers that I had, that it's not who wants you, it's who you can reach with what you do. And so the customers that I've built, see, it's the difference in having a support base and just having somebody to give you a donation. You know, my customers, they come and they rally and they support me. I can say I'm having a fish fry. I can say that I'm going to be in DC. People who have come all the way from Pennsylvania to come to the farmer's market, especially remember when we used to close in the wintertime? They would come.
I know. I've been out without.
We wouldn't open back up until March. And so people literally would buy 10, 5, 8, a dozen of soups. And to see people standing in line saying, you know, because when you, like Cam said, when you talk to your customers, you're building a relationship with these people. Yeah. When you look at my soup costs $15. So when you look at the value of $15 and you say, well, with $15, somebody can buy eggs, they can buy bacon, they can buy milk, they can buy some dishwashing liquid with that, but they choose to come to you, is really important. So that's what, you know, I've learned, and those are my biggest accomplishments. Having customers say, hey, Eula, I got these beans, how can I repurpose them? And give them ideas on how you can take the soup and you can boil it down and then put it in your baked potato and make it stretch so that you can feed your family. Is building the relationships and having people that really believe in me and my product is what's getting me through this, is what pushing me to go to the next level. So my biggest accomplishment is, you know, having my fans support me having people support me, having Baltimore support me in what I did and in my
Yes,
dream.
right. That's right. Both of you are relationship folks. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Eula, I met you. I don't think you know. I met you. You were serving bread pudding, and I was like, this one made bread pudding out of beans, and you had an amazing personality. So I was like, I have to support Eula. Gotta figure out how to support Eula. And I met Cam. Cam traveled with me to Atlanta to the Stephen Marjorie Harvey camp. I didn't even know Cam. She was just a part of. I was taking 15 other girls, and there were 5 other girls that got added onto the trip, and Cam was one of them. And so
I remember that.
these relationships are like so important as for you as business owners. We have so many questions coming in. I mean, y'all have fans on the people are talking about how they drink your smoothies, Cam, and folks are talking about how they're not vegans and eating beans. So I'm gonna have to get through my questions so I can get to theirs. So let me talk about this. So you both have had significant wins, right? Both within your product development as well as in the relationships and fan base you've been able to garner. Can you talk about the challenges that you faced and sort of what you did to overcome them and how you dealt with that? Cam, you want to talk about that first?
Yeah, I can talk about that. So, like, over the past 2 years, like, and this is one of the reasons why I haven't like went and got a LLC or something yet, is because, well, I have a trade name, but like a battle within myself. Like, is it something I really want to do? Like, are people like really believing? Because it's not always like, because with seasons and stuff, business change and escalate and goes down, especially with me being smoothies and beverages and stuff. So like sales might not be good a month, or I can't be consistent as I want to be, because with me, I'm a workaholic. Like, I've recently kind of been like off a little bit, just because like normally, like on my normal schedule, I would be like success sessions, meetings, like back to back, and then I'll get a nap in here or another day, like, and do it like that. But like recently, I haven't really been doing it. I mean, I've been doing things, but like more focusing on self-care. But like when I wasn't able to be consistent, like before Corona, like I was focusing more on school and not my business. And like I really wanted to like put my all into my business, but of course I have school and everything else. But like now, like being in the house most of the time because of the pandemic that we're in, is like it showed me that I can do a lot, and I have power within my voice, and that I can help others and do everything as myself, but also within my business. Like I started Selfless Sundays on the weekends, and like just different things. So I'm like, now it's something I know that I can do, and I can actually put my purpose and live through that within my business. So it's like for the past 2 years, just questioning myself, and like if I like, and I feel like that's still going to happen towards like as my journey goes on, like if I can do it, or like what capacity I can do things in. So that's what
I think you said something very powerful, Cam, and I think it's helpful for those who are young like you, and those who are just a little older, still young like me. But and Eula, you talked about this inner battle that you fight through, right? And is this something I want to stick to? And then coming to a realization that you have the ability and the power to do what you set out to do, right? So answering those questions in a positive form being a challenge, but you really did set out in your answer, and I didn't even ask you to do this, like how you overcame and how you're overcoming that battle, which all of us have, right? Should I be on this, those questions. And to hear you talk about that was just wisdom and grace is really, I think, affirming. Eula, how are you dealing with the challenge? What's the biggest thing you're facing?
Well, as always, funding. But well, this would be my third store. So some of the challenges that I had was location. Then once you find a location, you have to make sure that you have people to represent your business well. So with me, it was location, making sure you have people to represent your business like you, because now I'm a brand. So when I talk to any of my customers, and I was telling my husband, I was like, sometimes when I come home, I don't even want to talk because you give so much of yourself. You put yourself in your food when you're cooking it.
Yeah.
And when you're using your imagination and make sure it's this flavor that your customers have come to love and appreciate. And in addition to that, when I see you, Alicia, hi, how you doing? Welcome to the Big Bean Theory where beans come true. What you having today? That next customer is waiting for that too. So what I found was I have to have a lot of little human beings, get it? Human beings just like me, and or who has my attitude or my drive about the business. And that's hard to find. So, that's one of the challenges that I have, and along with the funding and just not having enough of me. So my pain was seeing how I could get my product out there and not have to do all of those things. And we spoke about that. So
Yeah, we
during
did.
COVID, I went back and I revamped my business. And because I don't want to always have to come out of the kitchen. I love making grand appearances and talking to people, but you got to find a way to simplify it, especially if you want to maneuver and get your business and take it to the next level. And so I decided that, yes, we do want to have Big Bean Theories around Baltimore City. We want it to be a major brand in Baltimore City. But in addition to that, we have to find a way so that we can expedite and get it all the way around. And that being was to start catering and doing bigger scale stuff so that you can get more out at one time, as opposed to me just coming out of one store and opening a 9 to 5 or a 9. What does the malls usually do? So it's more like a boutique business.
Yeah, no, and Eula, what you just said, so spot on. I mean, businesses, this question of brand ambassadors, right? And employees is the biggest question, especially if you're a forward-facing business. You just talked about, when I go to Big Bean Theory, I do want the same enthusiasm I get with Eula. And
a lot of, not to interrupt you, but my customers, they will call me and say, Eula, and take a picture. Look at her. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
They want my business to be successful, so they'll call me and they'll let me know what is going on. So I had to come up with, how can I make sure that I'm employing the right people? Because for a long time, I worked from the beginning to the end every day. I would fire people. I would say, well, if they're not going to do the job, then I'll just do it. But how long can you do that? How long can you do that? So you have to think, and you have to kind of like unwind everything and look at it and see how you can push it to the next level. I used a lot of my money, my own money, when I could have used loans. There's so many variables that if you have the knowledge and you have someone mentoring you, you can know how to get over those things. And it's just mistakes that I made in the business. But now when you make those mistakes, if you get a D on a test and you recognize all of the questions that you got wrong, you can go back and revamp and get the right answers and get at least a B the next time. And so that's where I am.
You know what? I want to come back to that, because I think this portion of like you and Cam talking about knowledge you gain. Yeah, go ahead, Cam. Go right ahead.
I actually been having that struggle too. So recently, the only people that I employ is my drivers. But the first person that I had driving me, and this was like a problem with me being consistent and stuff and being able to be consistent with drivers. So I had a driver and he was a friend. And of course, it was like an issue. And then I ended up having to get another driver or whatever. But recently I've been having way more orders than before because, like I said, consistency is key. So I've been looking for people to try to work for me, but I feel like I also have another issue with trusting people. Miss Eula said, having people represent things that I would represent. Cause I'm I know everybody else doesn't care about chaos smoothies the way that I do. I got people been asking me if I'm going to sell my hoodies with my logo on it and my shirts and stuff. But I'm no, I want to do that. It's something that I want to do, but I don't want anybody representing my business wrong.
that's
was like, it's been a
yeah.
struggle too.
Yeah, no, that's a struggle that I think if you talk,
Always.
I think if you went to Target, they would tell you that. If you went to Walmart, I think if you went to Starbucks, I think if you went to any company, and actually those different people have different names. They're sometimes called brand ambassador, partners, team members, teammates, all that. But it recognizes that the brand, everybody who wears the label, to your point, Cam, is so wise. Everybody that puts your name on them is an extension of you and an extension of your brand. You got to protect that so greatly. I think that was a huge point that I think those entrepreneurs out there would love to hear. Let me remind people of something, because I did not do this in the beginning. So I don't know how I'm getting these questions, but people are still finding out. Text your questions. So if you're on Facebook or you're in the chat, of course, if you're in Zoom, you can definitely put your questions, and I see them coming in the Q&A. But you can text your questions to 22333. So that's 22,333, and type JHUWL in the message, and we will be able to answer your questions as they come in. Let me stick with this point before we start turning to these questions that I have in front of me. What are sort of some advice you would give, Eula and Cam, to someone that's out there, watching you on Facebook, or that is in the chat? What's some advice? Eula, you just talked about, I was using my own money, I would have gotten loans. Cam, you talked about, I was utilizing this driver, and I really wanted to make sure that they understood my value system. What's some of the tips you would have given to your former self, knowing what you know now? So I always start with Cam. What would you say to your former self or to another entrepreneur about what they need to be thinking about, and some things they don't have to learn every lesson that they don't have to live every lesson they need to learn?
I honestly would say, like, I was on a call yesterday with a friend. Like, it was late at night too. Like, with some like younger boys. They was from 12 to 15, and like I was talking to them, and I'm like, I wish I would have started early. Like, they play the game. So like they play the game like all day. So I'm like, why y'all not making money from playing the game? Like, y'all could be streaming or making video games yourself or something like that. But like, I really wish that I would have started earlier, and like I would have had more positive people around me. Not saying that I didn't have positive people around me, but people that like pushed me to do things that they saw that I was capable to do at an earlier age. Like, people always tell me, oh, you're smart, or I think you can do this, but like not really being on me. Like Miss Joni, I mean, I started Chaos Moves before I met Miss Joni, but Miss Joni, like, she always uplifts people. She's the creator of Heart Smiles. And she always like uplifts people. Like, one of the stories that I like the most is like Naeem. So he's going to the 9th grade, and he creates apps and websites and stuff. But he's only 13, and he does all the websites and everything. But like, he didn't want to turn his camera on, like when we did success sessions or anything like that. But because we pushed him, like, and we like, at first it was like everybody was clowning him because he didn't have his camera on, like he was scared to talk and everything. But as soon as Miss Joni was like, commanded respect out of the room, and like was basically like, what's your Instagram or something, because he kind of wanted to be anonymous. Like, and everybody started following. He probably got like 20 followers, and like he just felt so much more comfortable and like pushed so much more to do things. And like, I talk to him every day now. But it's like, you just need that comfort and that connection, and people actually genuinely caring about you and pushing you to do things. So I would say, like, for the young entrepreneurs, people that's thinking about it, I don't care like how young you are and like what you think you're capable of doing, and like you can do it, and just start earlier. But like, as far as what I've experienced, I would say, I guess I kind of would say this to myself now too, is try to start trusting people with like your business stuff, because of course people aren't going to be like 100% when you first put them out there to do something, and you have to like give people time and like be like, speak volume about what you want to do and like your value and everything, and how you want your business to be viewed. So like, you can have people work for you, and you can have it be a simplified process and stuff like that. So I guess those would be the two major things. Like if you're younger, start earlier, and then try to start trusting in people.
Yep. So I mean, your point, I mean, you started at 14, so that's so, I mean, so amazing. You talk about starting earlier. That's a good advice. And then the point you make in the story you told about really being conscious about who you're letting speak over your life, right? Making sure you're around positive people that are uplifting, like you said. Naeem is his name. Y'all encouraging him, allow for him to come out of his shell, which allow for him his business to thrive, but also him to thrive as a person. Huge point. Eula, what would you say? What's the advice you'd give to your former self?
Wow. I wish that I had systems in place. Systems in place. Because if you have systems in place, like say your business plan, I didn't know that I was going to do the Big Bean Theory. We started off as Eula's Savory Bean Soup, I think, or Eula's Cuisine. I didn't know what I was doing. And my husband used to say, just be like Nike and just do it. And so I just did it, but I did it with my money. I didn't plan anything. I just woke up every day with a dream that I'm going to do better today than I did yesterday. And I made more money, but I didn't have a system in place. And so had I had a system in place where I said, okay, when we open up the store, because we started off at the farmer's market, we went from one farmer market to 12 farmer market. And we had a production kitchen that I was sharing with one of my girlfriends, and she shut her kitchen down. When she shut her kitchen down, I had to look for kitchen space to produce my product. So I went in Owings Mills. Owings Mills allowed me to utilize the space, but I had to open up my store immediately. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to use this space to produce those soups for the farmer's market. But no, I have a restaurant now. And so having a restaurant is different. Producing the soups and taking them to the farmer's market. Now I have to produce something more than soup, because now people don't want to eat soup in the summertime. I'm used to quitting in March and hibernating for the winter, you know what I'm saying, and just chilling out. Yeah. Now there's no more chill. So I have to produce soup, and now I'm thinking, okay, how do I do anything else? People are not going to want these hot bean soups all year round. So now within a month or two time, I went from being savory bean soups to the Big Bean Theory, because now I have a restaurant and I have to produce something so we can stay in business from 9 o'clock until 9 o'clock at night. And who's that engine? Who's that person that's pushing out all of these things? Wait a minute, I don't have a plan. I didn't have systems in place. So if I could tell the old me something, it would be to go to the bank, present them with a business plan so that I can utilize some of these fundings so that I can grow my business. And I also would have systems in place. I would have employees in place. I would have menus. I would have recipes written down so that I wouldn't have to do all of those things, because there's going to come a time. Right now, you can do it because your body is live. But you know, as you get older, you're not going to be able to do all of those things. So you do have to have recipes in place, systems in place, days off in place, health in place, you know. So that's what I would do. If I could go back and do it again, if I could rewind the clock, that's what I would do.
That's what you would do. So let me you talked about the systems and making sure you had that. Let me ask you a couple of questions that are coming in through Facebook, and then also the poll. Let's take the one on Facebook first. How are you perfecting your craft, right? So you started out, I'm sure that the first smoothie you made and the first soup you made is not as good as the soup you're producing today. I'm hazarding that guess. Because you probably improved.
Actually for me, my old soup was way better than this one.
Don't say that.
Let me tell you why. Because think about it. Let's use your imagination. Black eyed peas, right? So just dream with me. Smoked turkey.
Dreaming.
We're going to put it in an oven pan, right? We're going to put it in a Dutch oven. We're gonna have smoked turkey, and we're gonna drizzle honey all over it, and a stick of butter and red peppers, and we're gonna let it roast until it melts all over the bone, right? Mm-hmm. That was your style. But you know what my mom said? She said, how are you gonna take a healthy pot of beans and put all of these calories on them? You putting all of this honey and stuff on it and butter and stuff. She said, what you need to do is use olive oil. So we're using olive oil. Then you know how olive oil tastes, but you know how butter tastes, right?
Yeah.
So it was way richer, but it wasn't as healthy. And we have enough unhealthy food. So my goal is to get people healthy, because the beans, with all of that fiber, potassium, iron that it has, I made it taste good, and it still tastes fabulous, but I took out some of those calories that could add to cholesterol and everything else. But I'm telling you something, those things was off the hook.
No, I didn't know that there wasn't butter in your beans, but
no butter.
I knew they were still good.
Yeah.
No, but that shows product improvement, right? You catering to making sure people were healthier with your beans. How about you, Kim? Did you do any product improvements? So smoothie over time, do you switch it up?
I actually did. So like when I had and this was an issue when I had went to the ad firm. So before the ad firm, it wasn't a set thing that I did. So it wasn't like I used this amount of this amount of that. It was just like it wasn't like throwing stuff in the blender. Like I didn't care about it, but like putting different amounts and just keep trying different things until I thought it looked right and tasted right and everything. But like after like the ad firm, and I actually sat down and like tried different amounts of ice and different amounts of juice and different amounts of fruit, and it was a good consistency, a good color, like everything. That's when I sat down and just was like decided on that being something I stick to. Because like you need to have like consistency. Once people get something that's good that one time, they're gonna expect it the same way the next time. And like if it is wrong, you better make it again, so like they can get a good customer experience. So like I've been doing that, but then I also did I started immunity smoothies with sea moss in them.
I love them.
Like through this pandemic that we've been going through, because I'm like, this is the perfect time to make a product like this. And before I already wanted to do like a protein smoothie or something like that, but I really didn't have time to test it out and stuff like that. So like for the past couple months I've been doing immunity smoothies, and that's been a good thing. But just that's the only like way I've been actually like changing products or anything. But since 2018 in August when I did the airframe, everything's kind of been the same.
What you just said, and it's something that you've actually said a couple of times during this session, which is consistency, right? And so you got to a point when your product was consistent, right? So your customers, when they get in your smoothie, they're getting the same one on Tuesday as they get on Friday. They don't have to wonder, it's like the Tuesday batch better than the Friday batch. And I think that's a really important point for entrepreneurs to understand. I mean, what you're saying, the entrepreneurs from last week, Haley said that about her consistency, making sure your clients and your customers know your product. That's a good question. Now I got another one. So people want to know you to outline your typical day in your business, right? So what does your typical day look like in your business? Eula, why don't we start with you and then we'll go to Cam.
A typical day in my business is you get up at 5:30, take your shower, you're out the house by 6:30, 7 o'clock. You get in the
morning? In the morning?
Yeah.
Oh.
Tomorrow is Fish Fry Friday. Tomorrow's Fish Fry Friday. So depending on how many orders you have to get in there early, because I'm my best in the morning. After I get a good night's sleep, you can wake me up at 5:30, 6 in the morning, get my shower, get my little cup of coffee, green tea, and you get in the kitchen, you turn everything on, and you begin to prep. Mm-hmm. You begin to make sure that the fish is battered. You make sure that the macaroni and cheese is good. You turn all of this. What I do is I turn on all of the ovens, put the water on for the food. I turn on the steam pot, the steam tray, so that we can get all of those things in. By 11 o'clock, everything is prepared, and we rock and roll until around 4, and then we shut it down. And that's every day. And I mean, we serve over 200, 300 people.
Yeah, no, we're gonna get to you. Just made a lot of people hungry, so we're gonna get to you at a point. Before we go off, we're gonna tell people how to order from you, get you in their supply chain. I know there are a number of administrative assistants that have tuned in. Let me just tell you, the administrative assistants, they determine all the orders in the office. Nobody peeps that game. All the assistants actually pick the orders. So, making sure we know how to get to you, Eula and Cam. Cam, tell me about your typical day. People are really curious about how's a typical day in your business?
I feel like none of my days are typical. Like it varies depending on how my day is. Like how much sleep did I get the night before? Like, and I remember like one of the worst nights that I had deliveries. I do deliveries on Saturdays. Times vary. So this Saturday would be 2 to 6. But that night, like I had a success session on a Friday, and I probably didn't even really get sleep because I was making smoothies the night before. I think I had did a Friday delivery and a Saturday delivery that week. And like I cut my finger, my nose started bleeding, my feet was hurting. Like it was just a whole bunch of
everything was going wrong.
Everything was going on. But I mean, perseverance was on my side and resiliency was on my side during that time. Cause like if I wasn't like mentally headstrong that night, I probably would have just been like, forget smoothies, like I'm going to sleep, like and leave it all alone and throw my hands up. But like I don't feel like any day is typical. So like tomorrow, that's the day I make smoothies, because I make the smoothies, I put them in the freezer, and then I do whatever I have to do on Saturday, get prepared for deliveries, and then leave. So I guess I can say what I'll do tomorrow is I'll probably do Focus Friday at 7. I do schedules every day on my personal page too. So if y'all want to look at that, I'm gonna tell you on my personal Instagram so y'all can see.
I got your personal page. Don't worry, I'm gonna give it to everybody.
Yeah, it's I post a daily schedule every day. So I wake up at 9 every day. Like even on the weekends, I wake up at 9. Unless I really like haven't got sleep before, and I might push it to 10 or 11 or something like that. I wake up at 9, get ready from 9 to 9:30. 9:30 to 10, I do breakfast. I normally take a shower around 1:30, lunch around the same time. Dinner 6:30, 7. Try to do smoothies like in increments throughout the day, so I don't have to be up all night. Because for the most part, for the lowest, probably like 20 smoothies, and the highest is like 50, or it can be more depending on like what events people want me to come to, and if I have the event or anything. So this is all getting prepared for one day out of my 7 days out the week. So I try to split it up and like organize the flavors and stuff. So if I see I have 7 big breads, some have immunity, some don't, I'll do that. Wash my blender, make the other set of smoothies, and then I'll do whatever I had to do. So I might be on a meeting with the anchor meeting or like something like that. But it all depends on like how the day is, because like smoothies are my only way of income. And I preached last night to the boys that I was on the phone with, like you cannot have one form of income. Like that form of income get cut off, then what you gonna do? So like that's why I say none of my days are typical, because I'm always getting involved in different things. Being class president, being in National Honor Society, doing the anchor team, Horse Mouth Success Sessions, like writing things for authors to put in books, and like different little things that I do on top of having a business. Is like everything is all important to me, but every day is just not a typical day. It's like you wake up, it's something new every day. And that's the way like I like to live. Like I'm not the type that wants to sit in the office all day and do the same thing every single day, because then it gets boring.
Right. And don't worry. You're not gonna sit in nobody's office. You're gonna be running from some other vantage point. You're not gonna have to do that. Let me ask you something that has come in a couple of different times in a couple of different ways. And I want to give us time so I can wrap up, make sure people get to order you. So this is going to be our last question before we start getting into how people can contact and buy from you. How, what's your vision for what's next? Like how, we've seen the progression of your businesses, Eula, through different iterations of your business, different pivot points you've made. Cam, you've just talked about, pivoting from, this delivery system and like how you're doing it and what days. What's the vision for what's next for you and your business? So Eula, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
My dream, I would love to have, well, I have a big old dream. So my vision is to have a space centered in Baltimore. It's going to be called Beanatopia. And we're going to have all kinds of imported beans coming in. And we're going to have a row of all of these different soups. And tourists from all over the world are going to come and they're going to pick out beans and they're going to taste my soups. And they're going to go to the Beanie Bar. And at the Beanie Bar, you can get the best bean burgers in town. And I mean, I really want my business to be a staple in Baltimore. I'm born and raised and bred here, and I just want to make the Big Bean Theory a place where people from all over the world go and see about my beans. That's what I
love. You know what? I love this vision. I don't have $1 right now. I can't get it to you, but I want to be.
Don't you know how you go downtown and you see the Old Bay
I love this idea. This bean
thing.
It's like bean Hershey Park. It's like Hershey Park beans. It's like
I want my
Chocolate World. It's like
Bean Theory up there.
It's like Chocolate World at Hershey Park. It's like Bean World. I love it.
I want people to have T-shirts on that say it's bean-tastic, being there, done that. I just want to turn Baltimore City people into being.
Hey, don't give out too much of your intellectual property. We
don't believe me, they're gonna stamp it.
I know. We need. Don't give it all out on this call because you're watching that. Cam, what about you? What's the vision? What's next for Cam?
I want to first say that I don't really love that idea. Like it's especially with somebody Black doing it. Like you don't see Black people doing things like that all the time. So I feel like I hope that really happens. But for me, like my next things is like having more than one delivery driver. So being able to like train people to like treat my business like I would treat it and go and deliver the smoothies for me and trust that they'll do it in the right way. And then having stores around the world. But of course, like in Baltimore first. And like being able to like ship smoothies. So like that's something that I'm kind of researching now, like cooling boxes and everything on how to safely get the smoothies to people in other states and like different things. But like seeing Chaos Smoothies really blow up as a brand and like in stores and just everything. So
no, I think that's huge. And what you're talking about is just scaling, right? You're just getting bigger and bigger, doing it better and better. And for both of you, I can tell you, I hope there's some folks on this line that, on Facebook or in here that can join you in being a part of that, be a part of that, but also telling others that can be a part of your network and can be a part of, Cam talked about it, be a part of that rally cry that can help you keep dreaming big, right? And also, changing behaviors and helping you grow your business so we can have Beantopia and smoothies here in Baltimore, but around the world. And I think both of your hearts for this city is so huge. And that's why I think, the charm and the joy of this city is embodied in both of you. And so it really has been a pleasure. Let me give a couple of things to people. First of all, let me just say thank you to you, Eula. Thank you to you, Cam. Thank you to you, Cam, for even thinking up this series. It has been inspiring for so many people. The response has been tremendous. And I think we've got to support each other, right?
Right.
It's sometimes we all we got, but thank God that's all we need. And so, you know, supporting one another is really important. Let's figure out how to support you. So Cam, can people follow you, get in contact with you? Let us know.
Okay, so the main way of contacting me is direct messaging or DM me on Instagram at KR Smoothies. So that's KRSMOOTHIES. And like contacting me through that, but I also have an order form it's the link in my bio that you can place your order for Saturday's delivery from 2 to 6. Like it's East Baltimore, West Baltimore, South Baltimore. Like if you live in further areas, like I've been at as far as Middle River, like we can discuss the delivery fee and everything. And also I also want to tell you guys to donate to Selfless Sunday. This Sunday I'll be giving to the homeless. So I give immunity smoothies to the homeless. Once people donate, you can donate masks, non-perishable food, clothing, or monetary donations. Like anything that you feel like they should have. We can connect, and I'll be doing that this Sunday. It's every other Sunday, and it's something like getting me started on how I want to be when I start my nonprofit and everything. So
Excellent job, Cam. Excellent. So that's KR Smoothies, and that the at symbol in front of that at Instagram. Eula, how can we get a burger like I got yesterday? How can
Well, you can order online. So we're taking all of our orders online, and it's simple. It's the www.bigbeantheory.com, and you just go to the website and you put your order in, and you tell what time you want to pick it up. The address is 1700 Edmondson Avenue, and that's the 21223 zip code. And you can look us up on Instagram. We're on Facebook and on the webpage, or you can just call the phone number. The phone number for the Big Bean Theory is 443-955-1186. And I got to get a smoothie from Kim, and I'm very proud of her. I love her entrepreneurial spirit, and I'm rooting for you. I'll hit you up on your page, and I'm so very proud, and I'm inspired by you. And I know your mom is proud too. I'm having a proud mommy moment over here for her.
Oh, that's so sweet. So sweet. I think the nice thing about this series, and Cam, you said it when we started out, like getting the inspiration from two different entrepreneurs, right? Two different, one starting out, one a little bit farther down the lane, but that is what's powerful, right? To have both of you encouraging one another and encouraging those to tune in. You forgot your Instagram handle at Big Bean Theory, right?
Yes, and the fish fry is tomorrow, so everybody join us there.
And that you want that. Okay, so let me give a couple of announcements before we sign off. Couple of things. At 4 o'clock tonight, what am I saying? 4 o'clock this afternoon, there will be a session that we're going to be broadcasting live. That's on sexual and reproductive health, what you need to know, town hall for teens and youth. This is a really important topic. We've seen a decline in young people actually taking care of their reproductive health during this time of COVID. And we have Dr. Maria Trent, who is the chair of Division of Adolescent Health from Hopkins, talking about how young people can still take care of their reproductive health during this time and make sure that they're staying safe. So please share that and make sure that you're telling young people to get on. Dr. Trent is amazing, and she will be very, very candid in answering their questions. At on 7/15, so next week we have at 6 p.m. a town hall for families in Spanish. So if you know of Spanish speaking residents, that we'll be broadcasting live on Facebook. Next week we're going to have another Entrepreneurship Matters event. This will be our third in the series. So the first week we talked about skincare products. The second week we talked about food products. Next week we are going to meet with two amazing designers. One, Sade Jackson, who is the founder of Crown Your Inspiration, a whole line of clothing and products. And then Tori Sudan. So those of you, I tried to find my shoes here, but Tori is an amazing shoe designer from Baltimore. Shoes are made, Italian made and made here.
Wow.
amazing. You do not want to miss this. It's at 1:00 next Thursday again. And then on 7/18, I know Eula, you know him, Chef Craig from Taste This.
Oh yeah.
Do a cooking lesson for the family. So we want you to tune in. We're going to do, I think that the recipe is chicken tacos. Amazing.
Wow.
Delicious. So he's going to do that for us. Chef Craig, who's another Baltimore-born entrepreneur, has a few restaurants called Taste This. Please come and bring the whole family for that. I want you to follow us on JH Connect. So at JH Connects on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Feel free to email us feedback to jhconnects@jhu.edu. If you know of a small business, a youth-led or an adult, a more seasoned entrepreneur, feel free to email us at jhconnects@jhu.edu or link us up on DM us on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. We'd love to feature them. The point is to help these businesses grow. You heard about both Eula and Cam talking about employing people in our community. We realize that a part of economic development is rooted in the health of our entrepreneurs and their businesses. And so it's really important that we support them. We want to thank all of our partners on this. Johns Hopkins University, Johns Hopkins Health System, Hopkins Local, and the Mayor's Office of Small Minority and Women-Owned Business. Again, let me just give a round of applause. And I know there are people online, so everybody online that wants to, you can just put up your little hands on Zoom. Just give Eula and Cam a round of applause. Thank you both for taking the time to be with us today. Thank you for engaging in this discussion. And we appreciate all you do. We want to do everything we can to support you in your businesses and know that we are behind you. You have all of Baltimore, but also, a whole host of folks just behind you, cheering you on. So I hope you take that to heart. And thank you both.
Thank you.
All right. So with that, we will log off and we'll see you at 4:00, but also next week with another Entrepreneurship Matters. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.